Alright, so I didn't get to film a whole bunch of this with all the stuff that's going on in the world. Kids are out of school and I'm basically a full-time homeschooler teacher now, so basically at night I was trying to get stuff done, and you know, every once in a while when I'd get a break from the wife. But this is the JK with the LS swap. Don't mind the goats, they're just hanging out. Basically, engine's in. Got an aftermarket aluminum radiator in, using upper Silverado hose. It seems to work perfect. I noticed a lot of people are doing that with this conversion. The intake that was provided with a filter that I got that fits this pipe. Definitely some IAT issues here with this. Sitting with the hood shut, idling, the temps get up to like 183, 184. That's as high as they've been so far, just hanging out about 30 minutes of idling. And the intake air temps were like in the 130s. That's without any airflow. There is some airflow in here, and this owner is going to be getting tube fenders that are vented to try to mitigate some of that hot air. But as you can see, again, very pleased with the kit. The wiring is, pretty complicated just because it's basically all the GM stuff with a power module that they provide and the Jeep stuff. So you have to tie in some wires into the Jeep PCM, which is really not that difficult. And then they leave a fan control output from the GM side, which I haven't used. I have the Jeep side controlling the fans, and it's working really well. I have two slimline fans, because with this radiator, the factory fan wouldn't fit anymore, or it would, but it was so close you couldn't get your hands in there, and it just wasn't enough space. But so far, it's working great. The nice thing is because of the way this is set up currently, is I have the Jeep control modules handling the current fans in the back. And so I could add a pulse width modulated GM controlled fan, a big pusher in the front if we notice some heat issues. And you can see that there's tons of room in here. So that would not be difficult to do, which would then put 3 fans on this thing. The nice thing about the front pusher being pulse width modulated is that we can have it come on later and kind of variable speed wise, so that it isn't putting a big strain on the alternator. Although these alternators are actually pretty good. I mean, they power sometimes dual batteries and winches and all the accessories that Jeeps have, so I don't think that'll be an issue. But yeah, so this is basically an overview of the engine bay. The bumper and winch are not on yet, so don't mind that. Looks kind of messy. Basically, I have been heat cycling it and making sure everything's good to go there. I will be driving it in this configuration to make sure that there's no temperature issues, any leaks. So far, everything's great. Then I'll put the winch on, because that's going to definitely change the airflow to the front of the vehicle. And so I want to see before and after, basically if it's not getting hot without the winch, and then we see a change when the winch and front bumper go on, then we'll have to address that. But before I basically limit my access to the grill and all that stuff, I want to go ahead and take a couple test runs in, and I'll dial in the tune a little bit too. This thing is about 10% out right now. With the VE engaged, basically in a blended mode fueling, it's like 15 to 17% out, but tuned in MAF only, it came down to like 8-9% out, which was great. I've tweaked a couple things like power enrichment and some stuff like that, so that it actually enriches appropriately. The stock tunes tend to enrich over 5,000 RPMs, which is not adequate in my book. So yeah, but Jeep's good. Starts right up, fires up. It's got long tube headers, full exhaust. Sounds really good. The owner came by yesterday and took it for the first drive. Kind of just looped it around the block before the grill went back on, and he seems very pleased, which is exactly what we aim for. I don't have the cluster fully in yet, just because I'm still working on some of that stuff. We do have a pedal warning light on the dash because the Jeep pedal is not installed. The kit does come with a wedge, so you can put the pedal back in, kind of tuck it up and cut a portion of it off, and then wedge it so it's in full throttle all the time. And apparently that's what will clear all that up. It's kind of in the way if you do that, but we'll see we'll try it both ways and see. The transmission select gear switch, which was provided with the kit, and the CAN communication module, which is under here, probably impossible to see with this camera, but this is the OBD2 port for the engine. The OBD2 port for the Jeep is up behind it, so you have access to both still through OBD2 control. I use HP tuners exclusively for the ECU and transmission side. So yeah, that's basically it. The shifters, the brackets that they send with it are definitely a little, I'm not sure how thrilled I am with some of the alignment. I've tried it a couple different ways, but I mean, it's all working. So it just seems like if you were to, over time, it could move because they're adjustable and it's just a 10mm bolt holding it. Other than that, though, I mean, the kit is amazing. I've used other swap kits and they've been just lacking in what I would call development. And this thing really seems to be, I mean, it's well designed, especially for a bolt-on kit. There's no welding required, nothing like that. Now with this exhaust, I did have to do some fabrication because this exhaust isn't designed to fit this swap exactly, but as you can see, the long tube headers are in it, and it's full 3-inch all the way back. What else do I have? A check engine light for a couple things. All of that stuff still works, which is neat that they've been able to incorporate all the check engine light stuff. A lot of that I can turn off in the tune, but I want to make sure it's not an actual issue before I do that. So things like rear cats and O2s and all that stuff, this vehicle no longer has any of that. Yeah, so let me hop in. We'll give the key a quick turn, just so you can see that it fires right up. So all the stuff works. The dash will light up. All the selector indicators work, things like that. See, it fires right up. Tag signal works. Coolant temperature, everything works. The only thing that I've noticed now is that we have a tire pressure sensor, light that comes on, which then immediately after it does a self-diagnostic check, throws this into like traction control fault. And then of course the flashing red indicator here is for the throttle pedal not being in the Jeep right now. But a lot of that stuff is, all stuff that can be addressed. So now you can see the selector is moving appropriately, right? You can see the Jeep trying to move. So everything works. It's pretty good. This exhaust sounds great. It's big. And it comes out the bottom right here. You can see, of course, it's, no cats, so we're getting some water vapor as it sits in there. But other than that, this thing is, I mean, we're really close. Really close. I'm going to shut it off again. So everything's working as it should. It seems really good. Very happy with it so far. We will do a bunch of test drives and get it ready to go. But really, really, really close here. Yeah.